weather forecast is really not too good.
Okay, will we see any level 1s? There's a lot of range champs, so could see some kind of buff invade perhaps.
Let's see if there's any level 1 shenanigans coming up for us. I'm betting it's a bot lane stack.
Getting the ward?
Oh,
Oh,
it's
actually not. Okay. Oh, actually going for the Renekton nice and early. I think he is going to be safe. Might get eat on by the Silas. Okay. Does get out. I think Renekton was forced to start E. Yes. Okay, so if Renekton did start E, I think it's not the end of the world. Honestly, I don't think you're expecting to get priority versus Jace anyway. Kindred will most likely start bot and path up. I don't think you want to play around this Zerayumi. Just path to Renekton lane. Makes a lot more sense. I think Sedge as well will probably start bot side. I feel like if you path away from the Jace here, he is likely to just get ganked and die. So both junglers I expect will be pathing top side. Ryze actually takes the celerity. Wants to move quick. Very quick.
Does help you move a little bit faster. Something I do want to point out though is that Bruce has actually opted for the ignite with Enso grabbing the heal. It's not something you see too often, but I think it makes sense in sort of a relatively short range matchup where the ADC is a lot more likely to be able to be in range to get the extra execute damage off.
Yeah, I like it. So I think the way the priorities will probably work early is I think Lucian Nami should get priority in this lane. Ryze will definitely get priority over mid, and I would expect Jace to be getting priority over Renekton. But there's obviously the... Oh, actually, maybe the Zerayumi will be getting priority. I suppose Lucian Nami isn't the strongest at level 1, but it might get reversed back, you know, level 2, level 3. It doesn't really matter too much what the bot priority does here, because with both junglers pathing to the other side of the map, you're not really expecting to see much.
Yeah, it is pretty even for now, but Enhwa has traded a lot of his HP, already having to burn one of his potions. He's also opted for Guardian as well, something we also don't see very often, but I think it makes sense into a relatively skirmish, burst-heavy team, or at least the bot side of J-Team.
Yeah, so Ryze does have a lot of priority mid and actually got a Raptor ward. Sejuani might actually look to 3-camp mid from bot side here, so pretty unexpected. I'm not sure if this will actually work. It really all depends on if Silas can hit the chain, and if it doesn't, Sejuani is losing quite a bit of tempo in the jungle. Okay. The flash is, double flash is committed. Ryze has flash. I think he is actually going to go down. Wow. Okay, so first blood over to Silas. I feel like Ryze wasn't quite hugging to topside enough there. Did have the ward, so... Yeah, I feel like Ryze could have been hugging more to topside and probably would have avoided that gank.
Oh,
but very important kill. Jace actually very far pushed and Sejuani is not nearby.
He's going to have to burn flash here.
He actually might be dead. Yeah, okay, so he goes down. So really big kills going down. I'd say probably the hardest snowballing champs of both teams pick up kills, the Silas and the Kindred. This is, yeah, very interesting. I think the Silas kill is really, really impactful. That's a matchup where you shouldn't really be getting priority and you're not expecting to get kills. Let's actually have a look at this. So I think Zhao 2 was maybe a bit too far. I think he needed to be more towards the jungler there. But actually, unfortunately, just goes down.
Wow, J-Team actually dropping pretty low on the bot lane. Pepero is also quite low as well. J-Team actually have a chance to go aggressive here. They do have more sustain. And they are, you know, sitting on slightly higher health bars for now. Bruce has actually already expended the Ignite and the Enso the heal as well. So a lot of combat summoners down for bot lane.
Hey, WSL, he might invade these Krugs. Oh yeah, I think he's going to go for them.
I wonder if IU is onto this.
Fairly I'm not sure if they spotted Sejuani bot side or not.
Ooh, okay, it does get spotted.
Oh, it did?
I think so, just barely.
Yeah, I think it did, given that he's coming to check. Or maybe they just know. WSL. I feel like he can kite this out. I don't think he's in danger of dying, but he's going to take quite a lot of damage. Renekton can definitely bail him out. Ooh, yeah, Lava is actually on the way.
That is a lot of damage, and that does slow down WSL's clearing pretty significantly. He's going to be forced to run all the way back here.
Yeah, I feel like those Krugs were pretty greedy, honestly. Like, no top priority and no mid priority at that point as well. So pretty risky to go for those, especially if they didn't spot Sedge on a ward.
Lava just looking to relieve some top lane pressure here.
It looks like the wave is going to crash. WSL actually cancels his recall. They're going to go back to clearing. Dragon is spawning soon. I feel like J-Team probably can look to do the drag. I think you're much stronger on bot side. The Silas is definitely strong at the moment before Ryze gets Catalyst and a Dirk on Lucian as well. I think you got to try pressure this drag. Okay, Bruce and Enso actually looking towards mid. Ooh. This is a flashless Ryze, so if Nami can get the flash bubble, I can actually see him dying.
Oh, J-Team actually choosing not to go for it. I feel like they could have at least dished out quite a lot of damage there, but I guess I just don't want to miss any CS back in bot, so yeah. Gonna be running back down river.
Yeah, this Rise is pretty... Zhao2 doesn't quite have Catalyst still, and he is very Probably does have to try stay in lane at least a little bit longer, but this is definitely not what you want on Rise. If you have that early death, it makes your first base a lot worse, and you just kind of struggle from there to have the impact you would normally. Malva might look to do Dragon after this Gromp. I feel like they have the bot lane set up for it, and they're getting mid and bot priority. Well, they could actually invade the second red as well.
Minji's coming down.
He does sweep. Doesn't quite spot the Kindred. Okay, Dragon is checked.
Oh.
Lava's going to start it up.
Your team actually leashing it a little bit for Lava. Too kind.
Okay, so this drag looks like it's going to go down, and it's pretty nice to pick up, I think. Pretty much, if you're playing a comp that gets, I wouldn't say like hard outscaled, but you are against like Yuumi, Kindred, Rise, you're expecting the late game not to go in your favor, and having drags can definitely tip that in your favor. But the J team bot lane comes up. This Dragon is going to go down. Minji actually up a lot of gold, up 500 gold over his opponent. Silas is actually opting for the Rod of Ages as well. And Rise forced into the Merc Treads, which I think is a smart choice, but at the same time, it really does delay that Rod of Ages.
That is 1,200 gold. Just it's 1,200, right?
1,100.
1,100. Oh, my math is not good.
Okay, WSL could look for the dive here. We've got Zhao2 coming up with the Rise ult as well.
Oh,
this Jace does not have flash. I think he's just dead. Yeah, it looks like he is going to go down.
Dewish
They're
team.
hiding well. Ooh, WSL picks up another kill. Much needed. And also, Minji fails to trade anything back on mid. Can they maybe push and then 4-man bot straight after? Pepero dodges the bubble and is actually going to go aggressive onto Bruce. Bruce forced to flash out. Oh, actually goes down, but with the Sejuani here, I think Sej will pick up this kill into Pepero.
I was looking for it.
Yeah.
Does get the start,
yeah,
and
okay,
then he's
it
gone.
does end up going down. So, yeah, honestly, I want to say I'm not too sure who comes out better from that. I think that Zeri getting a kill definitely accelerates her scaling. On the other hand, Lava picking up 2 kills nice and early means this Sejuani is going to be very, very difficult to kill for a pretty long time.
Let's take a look at a replay of that. So, J-Team actually opting in a little bit for this trade. Bruce misses the Q, and I think this is where Pepero realizes he can just start walking up and ordering Bruce. Bruce does flash away, but is quickly matched by Pepero, but Lava is luckily here to get the double kill in return.
Yeah, I think overall it's still probably worth it, but at the same time, you did lose your Jace on top side, so it's not like you just play just for nothing. Oh, and actually, the game has been paused.
We love pauses, don't we?
I wonder what the issue was. Jace complaining about the jungler pathing bot side, maybe. Okay. Well, I think based on how the game is going so far, I'm not even sure who I would say is ahead.
Yeah, it's very scrappy on both sides of the map so far. The Chase is having a bit of trouble.
Yeah. I'd say you're kind of expecting that when you're playing up against the Rise, and I actually think we're getting back on the Rift already.
Oh.
That was a short pause. Okay, now, I'm really feeling bad for Zhao2 in this game. That early gank really kind of messed up his plan, and he's very, very far behind on the Rod of Ages compared to Minji on the Silas. Actually doing this Herald, ooh, okay, so Dewish team is going to try contest, but Zeri is very far away. Right now it is a 4v5, and I think J-Team, if they continue to force this, will just get it.
They should take this. They do have around about a 10-second window to try and force a fight, but the ref here does get
actually resets, but they're looking for the fight instead. Zhao2 forced to flash out. That's I think that was... Okay, Sej still has ult, actually. Rise Flash was used. Now that Pepper is here, will they keep going for it? I think Jewish team is stronger in this early fight.
Oh, they find
Sejuani ult connects, and actually Kindred does not quite go down before she gets the ult off. Pepper getting a lot of damage. Minji... Oh, the double Kindred ult is making this very interesting. Again, I feel like at the end, no one's really going to go down.
Well, Pepper is chasing here. I think he might be able to actually pick up Enzo.
Yeah,
Enzo forced the flash.
Will he chase? He's actually going to go for it. I respect that, but I don't think he can pick anything up. So it looks like everything is just kind of going to reset back to normal.
Lava's sitting around. He might
try re-engage on a Pepper, but I do think that would be a mistake. And Dewish team, they're very low. I'm not sure they can do this against the Jace poke. I think everyone should just kind of go back to their waves now and farm.
Minji has cleared that mid wave and is coming back around the river. Dewish team are still looking to try and contest this, but they're dragging the Rift Herald out quite far.
Zhao2's TPing back. I think even if you don't get the Herald here, you still want to play for the fight. The kunai is very low.
Pepper takes the Scuttle Crab as well.
Minji actually misses the chain. Oh, I don't think you can chase into the corridor there.
Well, they're going to try and finish the Rift Herald. J-Team do manage to pick it up.
Zhao2, he's going to look for more off the back of it. Gets a
Ooh,
huge
that's a
rise
lot of
EQ.
damage.
Gets another one,
That's
actually.
so
Xiao
much
is going
damage.
crazy. Can they pick up any kills, though? I'm not sure they can. And Minji off the back
Oh, this is
connects on
Minji's
the
fight to clean
Pepro.
up.
Okay, gets one. The Jace poke comes through, and I think JT might just be able to wipe them here. Gets the stopwatch off as well.
Oh, WSL
and
flashes
Lava
away.
lives. Wow, disaster for Dewish team.
WSL, the sole surviving member. That was
Oh, look at the health bars.
that was really a back and forth fight and really extended. That was over like the course of a minute. J team actually choosing to restart the Rift Herald, and Dewish team, I think they got a bit too antsy there. They decided that they wanted to keep contesting that despite being significantly lower health than J team, and ultimately Minji is able to just chase them up the river and clean up.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I think Dewish team actually played the fight pretty well, but I just feel like at this point in the game, they're just not quite as strong as the early game of the Lucian Nami as well as the Sars Sejuani. Let's have a look at the fight once more. So at this point, I feel like Dewish team felt like they were in control. They were kind of chasing them down, getting a lot of damage, and it kind of made sense. But I think at some point, you just kind of run out of abilities to chase with.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
can understand why they chase us though, right? Because the, Xiaotu just getting down so much damage with the rises, but Minji is here, full HP on the Silas, and they just don't quite have enough damage to finish him off. He does have to pop the stopwatch, but small price to pay for such a huge team fight for J Team.
Yeah, Salas being up CS over Xiaotu's rise, not something you would normally expect, but just the more early game skirmishes you can have, the better it is for Salas, and has the first strike as well, so going to be scaling up very quickly here.
And both Minji and Lalva 3-0 right now. 2k gold lead overall for their team.
Xiaotu does not have flash. Sejuani is looking. The ult
Oh,
connects, and I
no.
think he's just dead. Silas is going to pick up another kill. Yes, he does. So Minji 4-0. Going to be quite the force to be reckoned with.
That's really not good for Xiaotu, who's set back even further behind. He's so far away from his Rod of Ages.
Yeah, and I think this could be the entire tower going down. They've got Nami here, who actually managed to pick up the Rift Herald in there somewhere. And maybe not the whole tower. I feel like they've dropped it kind of early, but it is going to be down to, I think, just one play. WSL actually takes quite a bit of damage here. Yeah, almost down to one.
That is a lot more gold for Minji. I'd be interested to see what the gold on each player looks like, but we are going to go and do another pause, unfortunately.
Hopefully this one won't be too long.
J-Team now 3k gold ahead, though. That is really good. They've really lead into sort of their early game win com of just, you know, finding those skirmishes. And they played that fight, or both teams played that fight really patiently, but Dewish team, yeah, just not really realizing where the limit is at and going a bit too deep.
Yeah, I mean, it was very close, and I feel like both sides executed actually pretty well. I was impressed by the team fighting, but yeah, I know the Silas and Sejuani just had so much pressure,
Yeah,
so much strength in that early
I'm not sure
fight.
how Minji was full HP. Did he
I think he
bait
might
the
have
TP
TP back. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, though.
Yeah, I guess that's just something that Dewish team might have overlooked, forgot that he actually did have that available. And that is ultimately what turned the fight around, right? Because if you don't have a full HP Silas running up the river, I don't think much is going to come out of that, and Dewish team might actually end up ahead, but we're back into the game now. Bot lane relatively stabilized.
Minji does not get his recall stopped. Dragon could be on the table here. I think if you're J-Team, you just kind of want to fight everything, given that you're so strong. Don't give time for this Zeri, Yuumi, and Kindred to scale. Just keep your foot on the pedal here.
There's definitely no doubt that they should be winning most 4v4 skirmishes on the bot side. The only... Wow, Dewish team
Team actually go over the wall. I'm not sure they're going to get away with this. Lalva, he's actually going to give it over. Will they look for the fight afterwards? They're going to, but the Sedgehog goes wide. Pepero. Oh, I think he got cancelled on his dash.
Oh, he doesn't have the lamp
forced
to
to
fight.
flash over the wall.
Oh, Bruce is going to chase over here.
Oh, Minji, though, he's in the fight. The chain misses. Wow, Dewish team, I feel like they kind of got away with murder there.
Yeah.
And it's really big, actually. If you get that Dragon as a scaling comp, you kind of add 5 minutes to the game where you can just chill out and relax.
It slows it down a lot, and Minji just so close to hitting the chains there on someone, but the blast cone knocks all of Dewish team to safety, and yeah, they're laughing straight to the bank with that. Lava lurking around bot side, seeing if he can pick off Dewish team's bot lane, but
Yeah,
they're
might actually
long
look
gone.
for Pepero on the way back to lane. WSL is wisely pathing out to try counter gank this, but they know that Pepero doesn't have sums. Okay, Lava actually finishes the recall, so not going to try punish here.
Bruce is staying a very long time in that bot wave. It's going to give Zero Yuumi a lot more time to get this wave in. Meanwhile, Xiaotu trying to get what farm he can in the mid lane. WSL's on 2 marks so far.
Yeah, he's finished the Kraken, but I feel like Kindred does kind of prefer a slightly slower game. You know, obviously you want to fight enough that you can get your marks and stuff like that, but if the game gets so accelerated that you just can't really deal damage because everyone else is so strong. And look at that, 1,400 gold from turret plates to J-Team. A lot of those coming from that mid lane. J-Team, they do have a lot of control of this bot side river. Will they actually look to 4-man bot? Feels like that could be the next play. There's no Herald or Dragon up at the moment, but there is.
Well, that was looking.
Tier 1s. Pepero does not have some. This is Sejuani altered, and the dash does not get cancelled. That kind of looked like it got cancelled to me, but then it just went through, so.
Yeah, that was odd, but Enhua's Mikhail was ultimately saving the day there. Hoping people get away to safety, but it's going to be on cooldown now.
I think surviving that window is really, really important. You've got to feel very scared when you don't have the sums, and Sejuani has R, but if you manage to survive that, Sejuani can't be bot side forever. Oh, actually, big engage coming out of Bruce just destroys Pepper while he still doesn't have the sums, and it looks like Enhua's going down as well. A double kill goes over to J-Team.
So much damage coming out from Bruce there with the Gale Force, with the Serrated Dirk, and first strike on top of that, dishing out so much damage. He didn't even really need the killing there at the end. It was more just like the icing on top. Most of that damage just came from his ordinary dashing in combo.
Yeah, I feel like when you get ahead on Lucian Nami, you can really do some crazy things. So far, we haven't really seen Lucian Nami's get started, but now that they've got ahead, we're going to see if they can snowball it some more.
Indeed, but at the same time, there's just, you know, you've still got the mid lane of Minji's just so far ahead now as well. Motivator's on 5 stacks, and I wonder what he's going to pick up next. It looks like he's itemizing towards the Zhonya's Hourglass, which does make sense because you've already kind of got the Lamb's Respite that's going to come down in those skirmishes to extend it. So having the Zhonya's on top of that is going to be helpful. Oh, Lalva. This is an awkward time to pause.
Yeah, Ryze is going to be able to ult here pretty early. I feel like this could actually be good for Dewish team. We'll have to see as soon as that starts, but yeah, what a cliffhanger to leave it on.
What a cliffhanger, yeah. Tune in next time to find out whether or not Lalva lives or not.
Do you think he will? I feel like he gets out. From what I remember, he has Flash, and Ryze is coming up. Silas has TP.
Oh, you have a photographic memory.
I'm just thinking about it. Silas has TP, Lucian's coming out of base, so yeah. Trying to think how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not looking good overall for Dewish team right now, though. They do have the scaling, right? But it's reaching one of those stages where they're slowly falling further and further behind that they're not really going to be able to outscale J-Team in time.
Yeah, there's definitely a point that the scaling team reaches where they can no longer compete with their early game team and they just start kind of falling so far behind. And I think also, it's not like J-Team scales bad. They don't scale as well as Dewish team, I don't think, but their scaling's not poor at all. Like Lucian Nami scales decently, I feel like.
And they're already ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And Silas, Jace, I feel like, again, maybe in the ultra late game aren't the best, but I don't think the game's going to get to the point where that's really going to matter.
And although Jace has been shut down a little bit so far, Renekton hasn't really picked up too much either. And I feel like he is going to struggle a little bit against the team comp of J-Team in those team fights later on.
Yeah, I think you're definitely... The Renekton obviously does sort of well into short range compositions, but is going to have trouble if you don't get accelerated.
Yeah.
You know, you kind of just end up walking around and getting kited in circles, even by other short range champions, which does feel pretty bad. And I think we are getting back on the rift. So what actually happened here, I'm not too sure. Okay, we got a little bit of lag currently. Ooh, okay.
Oh, the dancing.
Never seen that one before.
Okay, never mind.
All right, back to talking about the game, I guess. So it looks like Sejuani did manage to get out of that without having to burn Flash, which is, you know,
not too bad.
Feels good.
Not too shabby. Yeah, I mean, if you're J-Team, what do you think are your next steps to sort of further accelerating and closing out this game?
I think, from what I remember, Herald is up at this point, so I think you're probably looking towards the Herald, and then from there, I think you probably need to just like go through all these tier 1s, take them out. I think Dragon, you still want to stack Drags, but I think Drag is sort of an unrealistic win condition at this point. It's going to be very, very far along.
Yeah.
Obviously, it doesn't hurt to stack them, but I think really just try and keep accelerating that gold lead, get the Herald, get the tier 1s, and look to take fights whenever you're able to.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon's always nice. It does feel like when you drop that, like, when you drop one and you're not able to stack those too early, it feels like the game isn't really going to reach that point where you can get that soul. Lava.
Okay, so it looks like they picked up the Herald while we were gone. And this tier 1 is going to go down. Looks like mid lane tier 1 actually dropped as well. J-Team with a lot of control over this top side. Dragon's in 50 seconds. I wonder if they're going to give it and just try to get more gold. At the same time, though, I feel like you kind of just want to fight everything. And given how far you're ahead, I don't think you really need to give up anything. The Kunai could be in trouble here, but has the Kindred behind him with the Lamb's Respite.
All of J-Team coming out from the wings to secure this in a turret. The Rift Herald is going to die here before it hits the inner turret.
It does go down. I think J-Team will probably just reset, look to set up for the drag. Xiaotu actually backing off pretty early. Feel like you could keep pressuring here,
Yeah,
but maybe he has an item. See what he buys. Feel like you could have pressured that bot tower for a bit longer. Okay, so it gets a fairly mediocre buy, but will be synced up with WSL's Kindred here. Gold difference continuing to increase. I feel like gold differences in the current meta, they can get out of control very, very fast. Like a lot of the time the game remains stagnant, but once you get that lead, you can really balloon it really, really quickly. This Dragon probably just going to be started. I think if you're Dewish team, you honestly just give this up. Maybe play for the tier 1 mid and top. I think it's just too hard to contest at the current state of the game. Maybe play for 3 items on your carries. The WSL actually going into the jungle. We'll be able to take away some camps.
Yeah, this is not too bad. Going to be able to get the red buff and the Krugs as well.
Yeah, I feel like this is the best trade you can get. And honestly, gold-wise, it's pretty good.
It's not too bad. It would be better if his mark was on that side as well. Unfortunately, it is on the Gromp down in bot, but can't win them all. On Gromp.
Okay, Xiaotu, he's pathing out bot. Perhaps would be scared of a cross map here, but Sejuani is nowhere near, so obviously he doesn't know that, but I think he should feel safe anyway. Benji, worried about getting his base stopped, does back off a little.
Paper going to collect this mid wave up as well. The gold lead has been pushed even further to 6k in the favor of J-Team. And yeah, it really is reaching that point with Dewish team. They're going to reach a point where they can't even contest these fights. J-Team are going to be too far ahead. Minji has picked up the Zhonya's now as well, and he's very close to hitting that 10 stacks on his Rod of Ages.
Yeah, I think at the same time here, the game has been relatively stable for a while. There haven't been that many objectives to fight over other than the Dragon. Once Baron's on the table, J-Team might be able to start forcing this a little bit harder. Rise is going to try push in a little bit of the bot lane here. There's actually a lot of members on mid for J-Team. They could look for engage. Jace actually TP's bot, which is interesting because won't have TP up for the Baron. So kind of suggests that they want to play towards bot side instead of that top side. Maybe we'll invade this jungle and push Rise out.
Dewish team waiting in the wings on their top side, but J-Team just choosing to wander into the bot side instead. Setting up for this Jace to start getting some damage down on the inner turret. I was looking for something. WSL's very far up here.
Well, Bruce actually goes on. Wow, WSL actually went forward there. And I think Bruce slightly out of the... Oh, he's actually in the Lamb's Respite. He flashes out, but he is going to go down to Pepero. Pepero in the backline doing a lot of work. The kunai actually...
Pepero.
I think Minji does take out the Zeri. Xiaotu is trying to ult out, but I don't think... Oh, he actually manages dodges the Silas chain. Wow, that was what a messy fight.
Yeah, WSL with the Yuumi getting in so deep in Bruce.
Yeah, I don't think he should have gone so far in. I feel like if you're playing Kindred Yuumi, you're very happy to just kite back out, but they instead try and make the fight super quick. It ends up being a 2-for-1.
Yeah, it does feel like J-Team were waiting around the corner, expecting Dewish team to catch Dewish team off guard, rather. But Dewish team kind of doing the same thing around the same corner. We'll probably get a look at the replay soon to see how it all went down. Pepero was an interesting way he approached that fight. He kind of just went all the way back into the back line. WSL does get heavily damaged by Bruce, but he does pop the Lamb's Respite just in time. And Bruce actually, it looks like he's going to survive here. Pepero going out with the hero play and getting into the back line, but unfortunately walks a bit too close to Lauva, who does knock him up and finish him off. And Xiaotu as well, just barely managing to dodge the Silas chains and get out in the end.
Yeah, that was very, very close, and I think the mid-item difference right now is getting pretty ridiculous.
It is. J-Team almost 8k gold ahead now. The gold lead just keeps widening.
Yeah, I think fights like that really good for J-Team. Might actually just take full topside control here and look to start setting up the Baron or making picks in the top jungle. With that bot tier 2 down, there's really nothing to play for bot side for 2 more minutes when the Dragon spawns. WSL actually goes forward. There's a lot of flashes up here. I don't think Sejuani's really in trouble. Pepero ends up in the back line once again. Bruce has a really good angle. Could maybe just look to ult. Actually kites out instead. Lava goes very low, but doesn't quite die.
Ooh, that fight could go out very differently, but Bruce, unfortunately, his culling has just come up, so it wasn't up in time for that. Otherwise, he could have done a lot of damage to the back line.
Actually, maybe look for the re-engage here. Lots of damage. Xiaotu just immediately gets blown up, and Lava chasing them down. The Silas chain connects, but does not follow over the wall. Jace flashes in, picks up 1, maybe 2. Oh, the Yuumi lives on 1 HP.
Oh, you're getting some help over the wall.
I feel like you just back off here. You can probably do Baron as long as you live, but... Oh, actually goes down. Minji connects a chain. Pepero lives on 1 HP. I feel like if you're J-Team there, you could have backed off and probably done Baron with 2 people dead. But now, I feel like you're a bit too low, maybe? Yeah.
That's
I feel like you can't
hard.
do
I
it
don't
now.
think you can. Arya just maybe going a bit too aggro. His team really wasn't on the same page there, and he ended up by himself over the wall. Minji tried his best to get some return kills. We held back to another pause, unfortunately. That was pretty scrappy, and in the end, it wasn't really scrappy in the favor of J-Team like you'd expect. Yeah, ultimately just extending that fight out a little bit too long.
Yeah, I think one thing maybe we'll have a look at in this replay is that when Zhao goes down so early in the fight, there's very little AP damage left. And I believe this Sejuani actually has a frozen heart, so it's pretty much invincible to everyone else. Zhao immediately got blown up. I feel like if you're RU here, you can actually just leave really early and probably do the Baron. There's only 3 members alive. Minji does try and trade something off the back, but doesn't quite do enough damage.
Wow, Siri and Yumi both surviving on pretty much 1 HP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
a close fight.
It was.
Sort of.
Yeah, I'm surprised Arya didn't just walk up towards the jungle, because that way, even if he does die, Dewish team will be too far up in such a way that Minji can clean up afterwards. So potentially a bit of miscommunication there, but...
Yeah. I think it's hard to communicate clearly in a moment like that. You know, people are probably just yelling a bunch of different things, but I think that's when it really helps to have someone who's, you know, kind of the clear shot caller to say, okay, you know, let's just back off, let's either reset or go to Baron or something like that, rather than the overchase, because there really isn't that much more that you get from chasing in, I feel like.
Yeah, and J-Team, yeah, there was so much potential there from that play. Like, they picked up 2 kills, could have easily just gone to the Baron and pressured that, but, yeah, just... too thirsty for kills, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I still think it's good for J-Team, right? Like, they don't end up getting the Baron, and perhaps it's not as clean as we would like, but I think, you know, you still come away trading up in this fight, you're accelerating further, and also important is, I think, when you fight in, like, an enemy jungle quadrant and you win, you always get to take all their camps straight after, right? If there are any up, so you actually deny a little bit of extra gold, you know, after you've won the fight. And denying gold on the Kindred is really, really important. You know, she's meant to be one of the big carries on this lineup, and it's kind of just being starved out of any useful resources.
Yeah, I think she's probably still on 2 or potentially 3 if she's lucky marks, which is really not where you want to have your Kindred, right? You want her to be, you know, at least hitting that, I think it's the 4 mark breakpoint where you get the extra range. So not even hitting that at this stage of the game just makes it that much more difficult to play these fights out.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. It's kind of interesting how Kindred has not ended up really being able to find anything after getting those early kills, but I think just the side of J-Team have snowballed so hard, she hasn't really had a chance to be as aggressive as she'd like.
Let's talk about Xiaotu as well, because he really has been struggling in the mid lane matchup, getting caught out several times just by Sylas and Sejuani. Even after he picked up some Merc trades, still finding himself CC chained and dead, like without having much chance to react.
Yeah, I think when you're playing against Sylas, you're always playing on the knife's edge. If Sylas picks up 1 kill, suddenly he snowballs insanely hard and he can keep pushing that lead. But Sylas, before managing to pick up kills, is honestly not very impactful. You know, he gets out-farmed by other champs. He doesn't have like the damage that other early game champions do. But crucially, just snowballs insanely well, and the fact that he's already kind of able to get on the board so early in the game, I think it was like level 3 when he got his first kill, that's absolutely crucial, and pretty much always what you want to do when you have a Sylas is play around that, try and get into those early skirmishes, try get him snowballing, because if you just leave him alone versus Ryze, it's going to be very bad in the 1v1.
Yeah, I'm glad that J-Team made that decision to go for that early play, because it, you know, it just kind of lets him skip over that pothole that Sylas does have right in the early game, and he's just, you know, he's zooming now.
Yeah, I can't remember what his scoreline is, but I think it's something like 5-0. He's actually insanely strong. He's got the Zhonya's that's building towards the Shadow Flame as well.
It's hard to see a world where Dewish team actually able to take him down. Like, how do you kill a Sylas who already has a fully stacked rod of Ages and the Zhonya's?
I think that is one real annoying thing about the Sylas build, is that sure, he gets a bounty after he has a bunch of kills, but it doesn't really matter if you can never take him out anyway with the Roa, with the Zhonya's, with the healing as well. So yeah, it's pretty tough to play against.
Yeah. Another thing I do want to point out is it does feel like Pepero isn't really executing these fights very cleanly. Like we saw in the last 2 fights, he was, you know, he did get that kill in that initial, you know, that skirmish we saw in the mid lane, but it's questionable as to whether or not that was the right call to make, because he ended up very deep in their backline with almost no escape. Yeah,
I feel like the Yuumi is mainly on the Kindred right now, and so Zeri's just kind of left to her own devices, and maybe that's bad. Maybe Yuumi needs to get the Zeri back on the leash. He's kind of, yeah, you know, he's going a bit too far.
Yeah, that second fight as well, he was just positioned so, like he almost just dashed straight into 5 members of J-Team. I don't know how he was able to survive that actually, thinking back, but I guess it's lucky that Bruce wasn't there to ditch out the damage onto him.
Yeah, I think the Lamb's Respite is buying a lot of time in these fights, especially because there's often two of them going down with the Silas ult stealing it.
Yeah, it does feel like you don't really want to... Like, Lamb's Respite is a really important ability that you don't want to burn too early in the fight. Like, you kind of want it to be in a situation where it's going to be favorable for you, right? But it feels like they're doing it out of desperation to survive as long as they can, even though the fight's not going well for them.
Yeah, I think when you fall behind, it becomes much harder to use those abilities because, yeah, if you can use them kind of proactively, use them aggressively, I think that's something like you can kind of plan for. But when you have to just kind of, you're put in that situation where you have to use it reactively and you're not sure if you should use it or not, it makes it way more difficult to actually make a good decision around it.
For sure. What do you think Dewish team need to do to be able to get back into this game? Because if it feels like hope is, you know, dimming very quickly.
Yeah, I feel like you have to play very, very slow, try and get up to 3 or 4 items on your carries. The one thing you do have going for you is that the drags aren't really stacked up, so you do have a fair amount of time to wait. At the same time though, J-Team is so far ahead already that they can just invade the jungles, which is actually a really big deal. It stops either your carries from farming extra, or it stops your jungler from being able to farm at all. Back into the game. Okay, so Jace, yeah, okay, so Jace, oh no.
They got us.
Oh no.
April Fools.
Well,
that sucks.
I don't know what to say about that.
I was excited.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to see them winning a fight. I feel like Pepper is just not at the stage that he needs to be where he's able to be damage dealer, and the same goes for WSL as well. And if you don't have damage coming from your 280 carries on the team, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I think killing that Sejuani is kind of just all up to Zhao2's Rise, but it just really doesn't have the items to do so. And also, Rise when you fall behind, you know, Rise when you're ahead, it's very difficult to deal with. You're kind of just running at everyone. It's kind of like Silas, actually, where no one can really kill you, but Rise from behind kind of just feels like you're rooting yourself when you're casting your abilities, and then, you know, everyone just engages on you and you just pop.
Yeah,
like
it's especially scary into a team like J-Team, right, where they're pretty much constantly dashing in and trying to catch you off guard. It just makes it so difficult to actually deal out the damage that he needs to do because, yeah, like you said, he does seem like the only remaining key player for a Dewish team to be able to get them back into this game.
Yeah, and I think he's 0-4 or something, right? Like, he is their team's magic damage. I don't think Yumi's going to be quite putting out enough DPS to take down a Sejuani. But
probably not.
Yeah, with your AP threat that far behind it, it does allow the enemy team just to itemize, you know, as much armor as they want, like the Frozen Heart and the Sedge, the Zhonya's on the Silas. And actually, I think the Silas has Sork Shoot. He doesn't even have Mercs or anything. So, no respect at all for the AP right now.
I'm glad the Rise is doing well in this matchup as well, right? Because, you know, we saw him get dumpstered by the Rise in yesterday's game, so being able to flip the matchup on its head and... Oh, just kidding.
We're back.
We are back.
Okay, Lava actually looks for the engage. Hits Lakunai. Lakunai does not have flash. I think he's going to go down. Bruce is dashing in. Lakunai maybe... Oh, gets hit by the bubble. Actually is taken down. Will they chase for more? I feel like you can. Rise is not here. Sedge does not have ult, but I think you can close the distance. Okay, actually going to go back to mid. Just keep pushing these waves. If you're a Dewish team, if you see J-Team go Dragon, you might actually be able to cheese a Baron. I think smart play by J-Team here, not to commit too many members to the bot side until you secure this top side area.
Yeah, they forced Dewish team to all base and defend this mid inhib, but they're long gone now. They're moving towards the Dragon. Not going to opt into the Baron this time. But this is likely going to be the third Dragon picked up for J-Team very soon.
Yeah, time is sort of running out for Dewish team. I don't think you're going to be able to reach 3 item spikes before that 4th Dragon Soul comes in. And this is even with that 1 Dragon that was stolen, which you wouldn't really expect to happen, but... Yeah, Rise still very far away from 3 items.
Oh, that's so much damage from Bruce.
Bruce gets a lot of damage, does get rooted though, and the culling doesn't really do much. Minji has a flank.
Pepper
is... Ooh, actually might get out.
That survived.
Minji can definitely just kite out here. Might actually look for more.
Oh, on the bot side though, we've got Lakanai getting chased down by Lauva and Arya. Bruce is there as well to get that, you know, get that extra damage on top. And Zhao2, you know, he's reading himself again. It's so difficult.
Well, I think Pepper might be in trouble here. Jace hits the QE on him on top side as well. Minji picks up a kill. Yeah, I think this is Baron. I think if you're J-Team here, you just run straight to Baron. I don't think there's any way the short range Rise can do anything about this Baron. So if you're J-Team, I think that's kind of GG, honestly. You pick up this Baron, you're going to get 4th Dragon soon enough, and you've got such an insurmountable gold lead. I don't think the scaling from Dewish team is going to end up mattering.
Yeah, that was really disorienting disorienting, sorry, to watch from Dewish team. It feels like there were 3 separate fights going on in that sort of one big mess. Ultimately starting with Pepper getting caught out way too deep and then that bleeding out into the rest of the team members. Yeah, Goldie goes to 12k.
So the fight starts off with Bruce getting a fair amount of damage. The culling sort of goes wide, but the damage is done. And Minji, he has a great flank onto Pepper, which doesn't quite kill him, but forces him completely out of the fight. And then on the bot side, the Kunai is caught out by Lava and Ryu. Yeah, it takes a lot of damage. It's just a lot happening all across the board right now.
Yeah, we need the observers to like zoom all the way out to the back of the map to actually be able to see everything because there's just so much. WSL on the top, you see him getting caught out by Minji and the lance strike has popped, but it's going to buy him a few more seconds of life. Meanwhile, Pepero does unfortunately pay for his sins. And J-Team now playing mid and bot. Looking to try and get this bot inhib down first. Larkanai is a sole member defending here. The rest of the team members are walking down now, but the tower is pretty much already gone.
Minji, they tried to engage on them with the Rise Flash, but didn't quite connect. And that is going to be bot inhib going down. You feel like mid inhib will fall soon after. They actually engage on a Zhao Tzu who does yet. Oh my god, I keep thinking people are going to go down and Yumi saves them. Pepero could be in trouble here, taking a lot of damage from Bruce. Flashes out, but is going to go down to the Ignite. Mid inhib will fall soon after. WSL on the Kindred falls as well. I think this, I'm pretty sure they can just end here.
Yeah, it's rough for Dewish team. You got Xiao to...
Ryu just dropped a new Jace combo. Never seen that one before.
What are they going to do here? I mean, they just...
Yeah, I don't think there's any way for Dewish team to defend.
J-Team just...
Yeah, very dominating game. 20 kills
they've done
to
all
5.
the morphing into the fountain. They're padding the stats.
Yeah, I respect that.
To pick up everyone as well.
Oh,
Arya is going to fall down, but that is going to be the Nexus for J-Team. And that is going to be the first win as well for the split. And yeah, that was really rough for Dewish team. I mean, we both thought that they would put out a bit more fight than that, but ultimately J-Team running away with the lead that they got early on.
Yeah, I think it all started with that mid gank at level 3. And from there, they just had control of pretty much the entire game.
Yeah, it's just so difficult to play when that Silas has already, you know, power spiked so early. Like hitting the Rod of Ages almost like, probably, I want to say like 10 minutes before Rise hit his. Yeah, it's difficult, especially when J-Team know that they are strong in those skirmishes. You could see them constantly looking for those fights, those small fights. And yeah, especially I think that Rift Herald fight as well was big.
Yeah, it was definitely game breaking. That was very close for both teams being able to just completely swing the game in their favor, and ultimately does go the way of J-Team. Slightly better executed and also slightly stronger early game composition. J-Team do pick up the win.
Yeah, it's just so rough for Dewish team. I wish I could say there were points where they were having some success, but